Wow. Look at all the practitioners in the audience. Thank you guys for coming and attending. We're here to talk about a tool that we built internally to help us track our planning for all of our applications that are migrating to the cloud and how that is playing into FinOps. Here is our agenda. So we'll do a little overview of American Airlines. I'll probably sound like a TV ad, so apologies up front. We'll go through a little bit about the cloud migration tracker, who utilizes it, what are the benefits that we're seeing, and then some of the sample screenshots. So a little bit about American Airlines, and thank you all if you fly American Airlines. We have 130,000 team members between pilots, flight attendants, gate agents that you all deal with. Those are people that we call above the wing staff, and then we have below the wing staff, the mechanics, the people that load the baggage, the people that work in the back that you guys never see. So 130,000 team members, and our goal here is to care for you on your life's journey. So we are why you fly, so thank you for choosing American. We've been around almost 100 years. We'll be celebrating that coming up. And there's a whole bunch of firsts there that you see on the list in the middle with our history. So where does our organization fit in? We have a thing called a Center of Excellence for Cloud, and you see the 3 boxes below. We have our Cloud COP, Community of Practice is what that stands for. So they look at all things cloud. There's a lot of the architects that are in that organization. They do roundtables. We share ideas and network there. Over to the left, you see the FinOps org. That's the group that we are. We look at all of the costs. We're the cost custodians. We deal with the budget planning, the billing every month, and lead org change management as it relates to our Cloud Center of Excellence. And then there's other communities of practice. So we have the engineers get together in what we call guilds, and they'll talk about best practices, share ideas in the organization. So I'm going to turn this over to Darla. She's going to take you through a couple slides related to the Cloud Migration Tracker with some screenshots and talk about that.
Okay, so what is our Cloud Migration Tracker? So it's AA's homegrown tool to track all of our applications and their plans to migrate either to the cloud, to another data center or selected data center, or SaaS. So a little bit about the history of this tool. We have a program to migrate out of one of our data centers, actually close it. And so as part of the IT services team, we were tasked with migrating from on-prem to cloud and about 2 years ago.
Right.
And so we started off using this cloud migration tracker in 2020. It's very complex, not nimble, not robust, so not a viable option for us to use for planning to shut down the data center. So we made a decision to upgrade this tool using input from our IT finance, IT vendor management, and other IT stakeholders. In the interim, what we did was we used Microsoft Teams Planner to track all of the plans. We had our application teams go in and update their application names, application owners, their disposition in terms of where they were migrating to. Are you migrating to the cloud? If so, what provider? Are you going to SaaS, another data center? If so, which data center? Or are you going to sunset your application? We also had them to add in things like risks, dependencies, and issues. And what we did was we took that information and we used PowerPoint to report that information out. In 2022, we welcomed our newly upgraded Cloud Migration Tracker, which you see here. It's a self-serve Power BI platform. So the information that you see here was imported from Teams Planner. So at the top, what you'll see is we got a lot of robust upgrades in this tool that we didn't have before. You're going to see metrics, you're going to see reporting, and we have a lot of filtering and drill down capability. So at the very top, you'll see where you can filter by managing director, your vice president, product mapping, your original and your target environment are your application owner. You can use one or more of these particular options. What you'll see below that to the left is the pie chart that shows where your applications are running by environment class. We have 6 different environment classes: AA on-prem, cloud, MSP on-prem, other, which could be an application on your phone, a mobile application, SaaS, or unknown. When unknown, it's just what it sounds like. The application teams may know their plans, but they have not updated them in this tracker. And so what we told the teams was, this tool is only as good as the data. So if you don't update it, we don't know your plans. So none of the personas can use the data to plan. In this example, you'll see where it says we have 26% of our apps currently running in the cloud, and here is the 26%. And you'll see the other different environment classes broken down by their percentages and the number of apps per environment class. If you click in the green slice of the pie for cloud, what will happen is this particular pane will highlight, and these other 2 will be disabled, because these 2 are for AA on-prem environments or MSP on-prem environment. And the same, if you click in MSP on-prem, what will happen is you will see on-prem, it will highlight, and the 2 to the left of that, it will be disabled, and so forth. If you click, for example, in Microsoft Azure for 182, what you'll do is you'll see a display that shows all 182 Azure applications, and so forth. The same for the AA on-prem environments. We have several. If you click in any of those, you'll see the same data, and MSP following suit the same way. Future, what you'll see is down below, we have 48% of applications that will be running in the cloud. If you click, for example, here, if you clicked in the green part, you'll see it's 445 applications. Here you will see those applications that are going to be running in the cloud in the future, along with those numbers. What will happen here is you will see probably some changes between the MSP on-prem and AA on-prem environments. For example, AA DFW, it may say 10. What that's telling us is that there are 10 applications that are in AA DFW that are on-prem currently that will be in the cloud. Same thing with MSP on-prem. If there are, DXC has 169, there may only be 10. And then those 10 that are currently running in MSP on-prem, that will be in the future. In the future, that will be in the cloud. Those are the examples that we've highlighted for you here. The cloud migrations by end date, it shows you confirmed complete, plan, unconfirmed complete, and unconfirmed plan. For example, here in 2022, you'll see that we had 63 that were confirmed complete, and 84, they were unconfirmed complete. And that shows you quarter by quarter all of the information. So who uses the cloud migration tracker? All of our personas, all of them use it. So IT senior leadership, they use it to work with the teams to determine if there are any roadblocks that can be removed. They also report up. They use the data in this tool to report to their VPs, directors, and their C-level executives. Our FinOps practitioners, of course, we use it to drive collaboration and accountability across all of the FinOps personas. Our application teams, they use the tools to upgrade their plans, as well as they can gauge their workload, and they can strategize. Now, the application teams, along with the engineers, the IT architects, and networking, they all work together to determine the best solution for the cloud and how to architect and build out their applications, keeping optimization and efficiency in mind. Our IT finance team, they use the tool for forecasting.
Forecasting.
Sometimes looking at what they perceive may be budgeted. IT vendor management, they use it to look at the current and the future footprint. And then what they do is they take that information to the table, to the vendors, to renegotiate contracts or just negotiate new contracts. So if we have 50 applications in Azure today and we plan to have 500 next year, we have that data. So that also helps the cloud providers so they could get ready for the load, for the capacity. So in this, we are operating in our inform and optimize phases. We are exercising the principles of collaboration and everybody taking ownership for their cloud usage. We also are able to report out timely. At any time you can go and get the report, and there's decisions that are driven by the data in those reports.
All right.
Kevin will speak with you about the benefits.
So a lot of benefits that come along with this. We love the graphic. We started putting boxes around the graphic when we were putting the slide presentation together, and we realized, wow, we really encompass a lot of benefits with this tool. We can plan for data center capacity, and we can know if those apps are going to stay in the data center and how long they plan to stay there before they migrate. So we can better plan capacities and what data centers we need. The end of service life, whether it's hardware or software, we can now better plan because we can see what the application teams are intending to do and whether we need to upgrade hardware, can we move them to a different virtual machine or physical box and avoid end of service life issues. Partnering with IT finance, once a quarter, they come to us and they ask for what's the current plan for this quarter, and they take that data and they look at, are we still running it on-prem, or are we moving it to the cloud? And if we are moving it to the cloud, did we budget for it? We have a lot of issues last year where, Darla said she was going to move her app to the cloud and then she didn't do it, right? So we've got stranded budget money sitting there. And then one of our other teams comes along and they didn't budget, yet they moved their app. So now we have better visibility onto what the teams intend to do. And then, as Darla mentioned, we partnership with finance and vendor management to negotiate better contracts based on this data. So a lot of benefits that we've seen out of this tool, and it's evolved over the last 2 years, as you've heard earlier. So I'm going to turn it back to Darla. She's going to walk you through a few screenshots of what the actual users see when they go into the web link.
Correct. So that. In the upper left-hand corner, when you get to this application ecosystem tracker page, what you'll see is a button. And so it's asking you, does your application migration plan need to be updated? Then you can click the button to see, and what will display is a list of application migration plans that need to be updated. You can go in and click yours and do those updates. If you want to search for a particular application type, we have listed here Archer as well as non-Archer applications. You can go into the search fields that are under them and put in any type of identifying information to pull up the data that you want to see. If you're searching under the Archer applications and you put in 72 hours prior to departure, that's the only thing that will pop up. Everything else on this page will be disabled. The same for the non-Archer applications. You can go in and filter on that. The program list rebel issue action items, you can do the same thing, put some qualifying information in there to search on. If you want to create a new item, a new risk issue or action item, you can go down to the Create Item button and create it there. If you want to add a new application, you can click the Add button in the center here, and you will get a screen that will pop up and you can enter all of your information. So, for example, if you want to look at any of this information, we'll just click Scepter Excel Release. So if you click Scepter Excel Release, this is the screen that you will get. You will see your migration status and progress in terms of your phase, your health, your percent complete, your target start and end date, your actual start and end dates, and the date that you actually decommission the application. You can also see and enter, update your application names, your application owner, your VP, product mapping. You can add app status information, your managing director. You'll see the associated risks and issues, and there are your notes and comments. You can also add some attachments if you wish, anything that you think that anyone using this tool to plan would want to see, maybe a architecture document or something like that. You see your original environment, your target environment, and your cloud service type. If you want to update any of this information, you can do so here and press the confirm to upgrade migration plan is complete button here, located here.
Yep.
Every month, we had a VP Cloud Migration Status Update meeting. So this is a particular page in the tool that's a presentation, actually. So you'll see at the top, you can filter by your disposition, your original environment, your product mapping, managing director, by VP, by milestones. Here, what we've done is we selected a managing director, and what you'll see is all of her applications. You can actually scroll down to the right of the screen to see everything. We have it like this so that when we're in these meetings, the particular vice president, they probably, a lot of them don't want to see everybody's data. So to make it, for time's sake, what we do is we filter by the actual director that is that we're highlighting at the time. So you see the dispositions, the application names, short names, percent complete, target end date, their milestones. We have different milestones, and schedule status. Milestones being they're complete, they're in progress, haven't started yet. Your schedule status is you see you can be on track, you're not on track. You can see there's no dates. It's not completed, you're behind schedule. These migrations also happen in stages. So you'll see where we took the plan, migrate and operate stages, and below there you'll see the applications by date with schedule status. So you'll see completed, on track, behind schedule, and no dates. And you see all of that broken down in the particular pie chart. If you click, for example, the on track piece of the pie, all you'll see is on track applications. That's what's going to be displayed and so forth.
And before you go forward, the behind schedule and no date are typically the things that get zeroed in on. So if you're an app owner and you go to the VP meeting, they typically filter on why are we behind schedule, what's the roadblock, right? So we have the app teams make sure they're ready to answer those questions up front.
Absolutely. They rarely want to see completed or on track. So the next screen, the next pane that shows up is application by phase or milestone, and that gives some similar information, but it tells you if the milestone is completed, if you're planning, you're migrating, there are several different ones there. Again, if you click on any part of that pie, you will see the corresponding data that would be presented here in the upper display. This is one of many reasons why we say that it's very important to update your data. Again, the tool is only as good as the data, and now we're in front of our VPs. So you'll see, for example, Carrie Clark, she has 12 applications with no dates. So for Carrie, the personas are not able to use any of her information to actually plan for anything. Another example, you'll see Edric Carter at the bottom. He has 2 that are completed, 1 that's on track, and you'll see the actual totals beside each one of these fields.
All right, so there were some lessons learned along the way. These were 2 critical lessons learned as we developed this tool. First one was, and you heard Darla mention, we're only as good as the accuracy of the data provided by the app teams. So how do we get the app teams to act and update their data. So every 30 days, and I'm looking at Eve, one of our teammates, you probably get the annoying email that says, please go update your plans because it's more than 30 days outdated. So you get an automated email, and after 2 months, if you don't go update your plan, then they add your boss, then they add your VP. So there's an incentive to get teams to go and update this. And I think we're making good progress. We're keeping it updated fairly regularly now. The other thing that we're working on right now is you'll see the information was lacking some basic information around, we call it the t-shirt sizing, level of complexity. Is it a small, medium, 2XL level of complexity app? How many users do we have in that environment? The size of the environment, how many VMs, how much database storage will be consumed. That information's lacking, so we are working to do an architectural review program before we go implement in the cloud so we understand that level of complexity, and that helps improve our planning so that we know not only are we planning appropriately, but what kind of budget to expect and budgetary impacts when that comes in. And you saw we put placeholders in there where we can update documentation with all of that architectural review. So we usually ask the teams, start putting your as-is and to-be documentation in one place so that we can track that stuff. So those are a couple of the key learnings. The third one that we didn't put on the list here is we got a lot of feedback from finance, vendor management, some of the critical app teams in our different verticals. They all provided input into what should this tool look like. Before it was just a SharePoint or a Power spreadsheet that they were using, and now everybody had input into the design and development of this. So it's evolved quite a bit, that collaboration piece that we wanted. So that's really an overview of our tools.
So hopefully
or
we
tool.
said something to help you all along your journey.
Yep. So.
Let me toss you this cube.
The lady in the,
Yeah, I saw something,
in the
heard
blue.
something.
Right here.
So you talked about the migrations and the data surrounding that. Do you have a lift and shift way of doing the migrations, or do you not consider that part of the FinOps practice?
So we've made a decision at American that we don't want to do lift and shift. So there's that architectural review that we talk about. There's a lot of questions around why would you just lift and shift the app? You're not going to get advantages of being in the cloud. So they go through all the different components in this architectural review, and they look at what type of database are you using. Oh, that's on our divest list. And we can all guess certain database companies that we don't like to deal with. That's probably on the divest list. Or what type of virtual machine, can we put it in a Kubernetes container? Things like that. So we don't really encourage lift and shift in our environment.
Thank you. Any other questions from the crowd today?
All right, the lady in the green.
Can you catch? All right.
So you mentioned organizational change management and all of that. For getting app owners to that 30-day deadline, like if they hadn't added their data, what do you think were the barriers of change there? Like, did they not understand, or what was?
So, and you can chime in here too. I think we would say that people didn't understand the use of the tool. So when we went and did a redesign, we invited app teams from different verticals within American Airlines to participate in redeveloping this. So when you get the link that says your app plan is more than 30 days out of date, if you don't understand why you're getting this, you can click and it walks you through like, here's why this is important, this is who uses it. Everything that you've seen in the slides here is kind of in that presentation. So app teams are better aware now that it's being looked at. We have a new CIO who's taken a big interest in this. We used to take software as a service and cloud and lump it all together. So our cloud numbers look like, oh wow, we're really far along in the cloud journey. And he went, nope, that's software as a service, separate bucket now. So we've had to redesign. So it's on-prem, cloud, software as a service.
Great.
So
Thank you.
hopefully that answered your question.
And sometimes what we've heard from the teams is that they're just so overwhelmed
Sure.
that 30 days can come by so quickly. So they're not able, or they have not had the time to go in and update the tool. So what we're hoping is that through working with the leadership that we get ultimate buy-in. And so these things are stressed to go into the tool and really, really update it, because we're all using it to make decisions. If your plans aren't in there, we can't account for you in the decisions that we make. Instead of, like, if we're renegotiating a contract, right? So we think that we're going to have, in this year is 2023, we have 500 applications for Azure, and we're just, out of the data that we have, right? We're looking at, we're gonna have 600. Well, that number could be fictitious because you didn't update it. So we're
The other
hoping to get
thing
more
is, sorry to interrupt,
No.
that email, we made it real easy. Click the hyperlink, it pulls up the tool right to your app. All you have to do is go in and update. So we've really dummied it down, for lack of better words.
for self-service purposes.
Improve the self-service capabilities, that's a better term. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions today? Don't be shy. Oh, I got it.
Just curious, do you,
Oh, I think that's.
Oh.
that box.
with all these workloads that you're planning to migrate,
Yes.
do you do a dependency analysis to see which ones need to migrate before others can migrate?
We've had a hard lesson learned out of exiting our data center in Phoenix, Arizona. Understanding those dependencies, it was really highlighted that we were not very good at that. So that's another area of improvement that we're working on, not having the visibility to how many databases do I use, where are they located, like all of that. Oh, and my app depends on her app, so if I'm moving, she's got to go as well. So when we did our data center exit, we really learned a lot of lessons that we're applying to this environment as well.
Right. A lot more collaboration needed to happen
Yeah.
between the teams.
And you had apps, so we break into verticals at American Airlines. Airport operations, customer technology, things that you guys would use, like our website, aa.com, and then corporate technologies, and then there's all the infrastructure. Now, some of the app dependencies, I may have an app in my space, but I'm relying upon my peers over in customer technology or AOT, and getting that collaboration and linkage between the teams is improving, we'll just put it that way. But hopefully that answered. All right,
Got
looks,
time for one more question. If anyone else in the crowd would like to ask something to Kevin and Darla? Oh, couldn't see ya.
Yes.
How do you check or measure the cost and actual cost and benefits of the migration?
that is a good, we are maturing in that space as well. We have teams that are very good at writing their before and after kind of business case on what the value is. And we have other teams that are lacking in that. They just re-engineer their app and move it to the cloud, and then it's like, okay, what's the cost? So that is one of the areas that we have in our corporation to improve on. So we lack that ROI value, and it sounds like everybody, because every session we go to, drive the value, drive the ROI, so we're lagging behind in that.
All right, thank you so
All
very
right.
much for sharing your story with us
Yep,
today.
thank you
Let's
guys
give
for
you
coming. Greatly appreciated.
Thanks for watching that session. I'm sitting here in San Diego right after FinOps X. We hope you join us next year here live 2024. In the meantime, please subscribe to the channel and join the community. Get involved, join the summits, get in a working group, and don't forget to get FinOps certified. Because next year here in San Diego for FinOps X, it's going to be twice as big. Come join the party. Come meet your people. Welcome home.